Faster, safer. And for those of us who seek even greater speed in getting from one coast to the other, the United Airlines operate these trim, twin-motored Boeing monoplanes. Service starts either at Los Angeles, San Francisco, or Seattle, with all three sections converging at Salt Lake City. At San Francisco, our ship is made ready for a beeline dash to New York via Chicago. Lubricating oil is pumped into the engines to ensure cool, smooth-running service throughout the long grind that would burn and sludge all but the best quality oil. United airliners are not operated by guess. Everything used is checked for quality. Every part is inspected. Everything is ready before a plane leaves the ground. In the pilot's compartment is a full complement of instruments to guide both pilots over the long stretches of mountains, lakes, plains, and cities that make up the United States. Now, everything is set. The flight release has been issued, and the plane taxis to the air station. Passengers take their places in the cabin and relax in comfortable reclining chairs. A turn of the propellers, a roar from the engines, and we're away. Those Pratt & Whitney Wasp engines lift their cargo higher and higher over the housetops. The ground drops away. Homes become dollhouses. San Francisco dwindles into a mere checker square. A giant cloud lies between us and the Golden Gate. Meanwhile, at Los Angeles Airport, another ship takes off to join us at Salt Lake City. Los Angeles City Hall thrusts its 28 stories high above the 13-story buildings of the business district. Air travelers from Seattle, Spokane, Tacoma, and Portland fly over the historic Oregon Trail and the beautiful Columbia River Gorge. On we fly, as far in 5 minutes as a covered wagon could go in a day. Our ship glides over Lake Tahoe, 6,200 feet above sea level. Snow-covered peaks and forest-studded ranges slip by, leaving an impression of stimulating beauty. Below us lies the Great Salt Lake with salt water so buoyant that you float when you swim in it whether you want to or not. And here's Salt Lake City, nestled in the beautiful mountains of Utah, with its famous wide streets and Mormon temple. This structure was constructed without the use of a single nail. Wasatch Range stands guard over Salt Lake City as we leave it behind. The stewardess, ever helpful, points out a place of interest as the fast-moving panorama passes beneath. Possibly you've wondered about these tall mountain peaks with more than passing concern. This is the way pilots see things. Regardless of rain, snow, or fog, the artificial horizon, aided by other instruments, enables the pilots to keep the ship on an even keel. Other aids are available. The pilots communicate with the nearest of 37 ground radio stations throughout the trip. Now we've reached Omaha, where connections are made with planes from the north and southwest. Then we fly over the Mississippi, the father of rivers. A boundary line that once separated empires is now but a point in a division over which some pilots have flown their planes 3,000 times. Then Chicago, that teeming mart of trade and terminal for travelers. Here we pause a moment and soon are off again. Here's Cleveland with its outstanding railroad terminal in the heart of its commercial center. And then it's only a malted milk or two as we hurry onward to the Statue of Liberty and the one and only New York City. The Empire State Building and near it the Chrysler Spire are up-thrusting beacons above the metropolis of the world, our destination. We deplane at Newark Airport, a beehive of activity. passengers are arriving and departing day and night, for this is the hub of a huge network of airlines. Someone's going someplace all of the time and going farther, faster, safer. Nor is the spirit of speed with safety confined to interstate land and air travel. This giant 19-ton, 4-engine, 32-passenger Sikorsky airliner is fueled with high-quality gasoline and lubricating oil for a test flight before being delivered to a large aviation company. Out to sea like a daring mariner of old. Faster, 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 the powerful Pratt & Whitney engines turn until she's off, rising with the grace of a swan. Always forward and upward until the powerful 3,000 horsepower motors are propelling this enormous clipper ship at 160 miles an hour. During a series of trial flights, after the ship had been thoroughly tested and the engines had been broken in, this deluxe airliner reclaimed for the United States the 10 efficiency records for seaplane transport service which for years had been held by France and Germany. Wings across the sea. This luxurious monarch of the airways over the sea has found its place with sister ships in South American air travel. Another test is nearly ended. The big bird slowly descends, the trial a complete success. A few adjustments must be made, trivial things to you and to me, but of great importance to Sikorsky because everything must be in perfect condition. Now she lights on the water and taxis back to her dock. Up the ramp climbs the sturdy ship as proud engineers and mechanics prepare her berth in the hangar. Another record has been made. Another test for efficiency has been met, and a vow to go farther, faster, safer has been fulfilled. Here's another test for aircraft and particularly for lubricants. These giant Condors of the Eastern Airlines start from the cold north and land in the warm south, all within a few hours. This ship looks like a big beetle, but it doesn't maneuver like one. A beetle doesn't know much about flying compared to this competitor for the rights of the airways. You might think that these passengers were commuters catching the 725 instead of embarking on a flight of more than 1,100 miles between Newark and Miami. The starter's grown, and away we go. A sister ship arrives from Miami. Before going back into service, everything must be checked. Here are 3 young mechanics preparing the Condor for another trip to the Southland. Here's still another record for men, motors, and oil. Eddie Rickenbacker is headed for a record dash to New York from Los Angeles in one of the new Eastern Airline Douglas transports.
We'll have breakfast in Los Angeles, and we hope that we'll have dinner in New York. Are you all set?
Lubricating oil is put into the engines, and a last-minute checkup is made. Let's go. A race against time, 2,600 miles to New York, and that's a long way to go for dinner. Over mountains, we're averaging 15,000 feet in the upper air. With Rickenbacker at the controls, we're doing more than 200 miles an hour. New York in 12 hours and 7 minutes. A new record and not too late for dinner. Here's Rickenbacker with another victory for aviation.
The elapsed time was 12 hours and 7 minutes, and the actual flying time was 11 hours and 55 minutes.
When the postman delivers a package intended for a young American boy, He doesn't know that possibly he may have had a hand in altering transportation years hence. This happy boy has been waiting anxiously for these packages. He knows they contain a Brown Jr. motor for the new type miniature airplane he designed and is building in school. Now his masterpiece will fly. Already he has more knowledge about aviation than the Wright brothers had when they made their historic flight at Kitty Hawk 31 years ago. This model ship is no mere plaything. It's built along practical lines, and in it have gone hours of careful work and planning. This boy in his teens realizes the importance of good quality oil. He knows, as we all know, that the records made by Jenkins, Rickenbacker, Sikorsky, and the Union Pacific would not be possible without proper lubrication. He knows that reliable air service would be but a fantastic dream unless lubrication had been developed to meet and exceed the demands made on it. Every one of these records was made possible in a measure by proper oil. Had the oil failed, these demonstrations of speed and efficiency could not have been accomplished. One of the most efficient contributions of science to meet this unusual assignment is the new solvent process of refining motor oil. Impurities that heretofore could not be reached are now literally washed out of the oil. By this method, all types of oil can be improved, but even solvent refining does its best job with the best raw material. It's only through the combination of solvent refining and selected Pennsylvania crudes that the best motor oil is obtainable. You've just seen a few of the many rigid tests given solvent-processed new Pennzoil before being offered the public. In tests with automobiles, it was found that even those driven unusually long between oil changes were completely free from sludge on valves and pistons, power was protected, there was a gasoline saving up to 12%, and a saving of motor oil up to 50%. A 50-year-old pioneer, the largest producer, refiner, and marketer operating exclusively on a 100% pure Pennsylvania crude oil, has made even better what motorists in every state in the Union already called the best motor oil in the world. New Pennzoil means economy because it postpones oil changing many miles. It means speed because it's free from sludge-making adulterants. It means protection to the engine because it places a film of oil between moving parts. In other words, new Pennzoil is ready to go farther, faster, safer.